If you're new to TryHackMe or you want to learn ethical hacking, then in this video I'll show you how to complete levels, how to hack, and some more crucial information that you as a beginner you need to understand. So let's get started. So when you first start out, you might land on the dashboard, but on the dashboard we're really not interested. There's too much information for us, so we're just going to skip the dashboard. What you're interested in is go to practice and go to challenges, right? Here, go to the search bar and type in basic pen test, right? And as you can see, you'll get the first level, which we're looking for. It's called basic pen testing. Click on it. And here is where basically we can do the level, and this is a very, very simple level, and I can actually explain everything to you step by step, even though you don't have any experience in cybersecurity. So let's get started. You should obviously follow. Make sure what I just showed you, you did the same. Come to this level and let's do it together. Right, so usually under the title, right, it says Start Attack Box. So if you press this, it should start an attack box for you, right? If you actually drop down the menu, there is also Kali Linux, but Kali Linux requires a subscription. The attack box is free. Now, unfortunately, I cannot start the attack box because I have used my 1 hour per day that you get for free. So I'll have to show you how to connect your own device or your basically own virtual machine to TryHackMe VPN, which is for free and it gives us unrestricted access. Right, so to connect to a VPN, you need to start your machine. And then there is a question mark. Press this question mark, and as you can see, there is attack box and a VPN. See instructions. And then from here, as you can see, you get some basic information. Basically from here, as you can see, it says open VPN. Press configuration files and download the configuration file. In your downloads folder, you should get a file like this. It should say EU-West, which is just the server, your username, and .ovpn extension. So if I write ls, as you can see, this is my file, right? Obviously, if you have more files, then you just need to look for your file. Now, if you write sudo openvpn and then just write this file, right? So if you write EU or basically whatever your file starts with, press tab, right? And if you put your password in, so basically the VPN should connect you, right? As you can see, I'm actually currently connected. Now, don't close this terminal because this is actually your VPN. If you close this terminal, it will disconnect you from the VPN server. Now, if you refresh right here, it should say connected and it should give you an IP address. If you give you an IP address and it says connected, you are successfully connected to TryHackMe VPN and you can proceed with the following steps in the video. Right, so let's actually answer the questions, right? I'm not going to read any of this. This is not really important. Deploy the machine. Click check. Find services exposed by the machine. So, when you basically launch your computer, you might get different services. You might have heard of FTP, SSH, HTTP, HTTPS, right? These are all called services, right? So if you write Nmap, PP, right? So -p, and then you just put the IP address, right? So you can actually copy this to clipboard, go back to your terminal, paste selection, or I need to write it, so 10.82.181.49. And then if you just press enter, what this will do is it'll basically scan the whole computer for exposed services that we can access, right? So things like HTTP server, SSH server, and stuff like that, which I will explain. So as you can see, port 22 is SSH. What is a port? Port is basically just a number that this service is hosted on. Different services have different numbers. For example, 3306 is MySQL, right? Or 22 in this case is SSH. All of these numbers can be changed, but usually it is uncommon for example, HTTP to be changed, right? So you will understand the more you do or the more you're in cybersecurity, the better you're going to understand these things. So as you can see, we have basically 6 ports. Now, if you press up arrow and you write SV, right, make sure that you put hyphen small s capital V. This is very important because these are all called flags or options. What is the name of the hidden directory on the web server, right? So there is 2 actual ports, I think 2 or 3. Yeah, so let's actually just try to see what is hosted on these ports, right? So let's put the IP address, go to your browser and write the following port. Let's write 80, right? And as you can see, it says undergoing maintenance. Okay, so there's an empty website. Now, even though that this website is technically empty, there's nothing here. Even if you go to the HTML source code, what we can still do is we can see if the developer has exposed something that we're not supposed to see, right? So this is called directory brute forcing. And what we're going to do is we're going to force, or basically just run a directory attack that is going to show us anything that could be hidden or exposed on this web server, right? Which I'll show you how to do right now. Right, so let's actually run this attack, right? So if you type in FUF, right, which is basically a tool used for web hacking, right? That's just as simple as I can make it. If you write -u, and here you just need to specify your IP address, right? So HTTP, this will be actually for everyone because HTTP means website, right? You don't need to know more than that for now. And then just write your IP address, 10.82.168.10. Now, obviously, this is my IP address, but whatever says here, you just need to copy, right? And then write /fuzz. Now, we need a word list. What is a word list? Basically, it's a bunch of words that are expected to be in a website. Now, if you go back to the main terminal and just write the following command, right? Or sorry, add the following flag or option. -w and just for user share word lists, sec lists, and then after that, write / and type in DI, press tab, right? As you can see, it autofills, right? Tab is a very, very useful option. And then just directories.txt. Now, if you press enter, as you can see, now, even though there's no directory there, right? There's no directory here, there's nothing here, we can't see anything. The program has found the development folder, right? So if I basically take this directory and I just paste it, I mean, you don't really have to paste it, you can just type it in. Right, so apart from these two files, which technically tell us something good, but not really enough information for us to do anything with this, right? It just tells us that the user here has a easy password hash, right? Which means the password is basically so simple that we can easily crack it. But we need something to crack first, right? So, and you can actually log in to SMB, right? Right, now I'm just going to tell you, inside the SMB, there's not really much that we can do with. However, there's one file that you might want to get, right? So if you write netexec SMB and IP address, right? So whatever is your IP address, you need to write it. And then just if you write shares, what this will do is this will actually tell you, no, I didn't put the user. There we go. Right, what this will do is, as you can see, there is a share anonymous. There is another share, but we can't read it. But there is a share anonymous and it has read permissions. This is actually a misconfiguration and we should not have access to this. So now if you just use SMB client to log in, right, make sure you actually put /. I'm just looking, anonymous, right? And what this will actually allow you to do is, as you can see, there's a file inside it, right? So you can actually get this file. I actually already have it, but you just need to type in get and staff.txt, right? If I can type it correctly, staff.txt, and then just go to your downloads or your current directory, and then this file is right here, right? And as you can see, we actually get the usernames. There's a Jan and K, two usernames, which are very, very crucial in solving this puzzle. Right, I'm also going to save us time. What we're just going to do is, I have cracked the password for SMB, but the password doesn't do anything. So the next best thing is to crack the SSH password. It's Hydra first, Jan, and then just specify the word list, right? Like I told you what a word list is. Word list just contains password, right? There's obviously different word lists for different purposes, but in this case, a raw queue is just a password word list, right? So what Hydra will do is it'll basically crack the password for us without having it to do basically by hand, right? It's just a program. I'll show you in a second what it does. Right, so basically currently Hydra is just running or trying all of these passwords from rawqueue.txt against our Jan user. And if the password is correct, it'll tell us, and then we can just use this password to log in, right? I'll leave this for about 2 minutes and I should return with a positive password. Right, so I left it for about 2 minutes, maybe 5, and as you can see, we have cracked the password. The password is Armando. So now if you go and you just answer what is the password Armando, you just basically have access to SSH. right? So we have cracked the SSH protocol, which means we can use this password for SSH. However, it is common that people like to reuse the password, which you're probably guilty of. I was guilty, and maybe 10 years ago, of using the same password. So basically, you need to always remember to try the same password for different stuff. However, let me just show you how to log into SSH, right? Which is very, very simple. Type in SSH Jan, which is our username, with the IP address, right? So if you just copy the IP address, oh, god damn it, I hate this. 1099, right? And then if you just basically put password, which is Armando, as you can see, now we're logged in into the system. So now we basically have remote access because of SSH, which is just a remote access tool, allows you to log into the system remotely, right? So for example, let's see where I am, right? I'm currently home Jan. Okay, there's nothing here. So what we might need to do is we might need to find a basically way to get access to the administrator account on the system, right? So I'm not going to bore you guys, but basically it took me a little bit of time to actually get here. But basically I run a privilege escalation script, which didn't help me as much. I mean, there's too much information and I'm not going through all of this, right? It's impossible. Then what I lurked around and I found that K, right? Actually, if you go to home K, right? I missed a directory. The directory is .ssh. So if you go to .ssh, we can actually read the ID RSA. Now, if you don't know what ID RSA or what a private key is, SSH allows you to use files, basically private keys, right? They're the same names. Files and private keys is the same thing. They allow you to log in without a password, right? So if I actually read this ID RSA, I should not have access to this, by the way, right? I can basically just copy this. And what I can do is I can use this private key, right? Just copy it properly though. I can use this private key to log in as K, right? So as the other user. So if I go to another terminal and I just basically save the file. So it's just do key. Let's do K. Let's do K. It doesn't really make a difference, right? So basically now if I do SSH K at the IP address, so 10.129.176.121, and then if I use the file, actually I forgot to change the permissions, I think it was 600 if I'm not wrong. There we go. And then if I use the file, right, so it's sshk at 10.9, and then if I basically just use the file, as you can see now I can technically log in. However, it says enter passphrase. Now the passphrase is a bit more complicated because now to access the SSH, or basically to confirm that we actually are supposed to have access to the private key, we need to put another password. Now we actually need to crack this file, right? So if I do SSH to John, and if I just typed in K to crackpass.txt, I know you guys probably don't have a clue what I'm doing. That's okay. What I just need to do now is I just need to use John K, not crack pass, and then just a word list. So we're just going to use rock here, right? Our favorite rock, right? Let's run this, and oh, because we already actually have cracked it. So pot file disable. Pot file disable, please. Oh god damn it. Right, there we go. I cracked it again. This is how we crack it again. So you just need to put equals disable, and there's beeswax, right? So if I put beeswax now, right? So now if I just use the key, so if I use K, was it K at 129.176.21, and I use basically the key file, and I enter the passphrase, which is beeswax, right? We technically have access, as you can see. Now we have access as the K user. Now let me just answer the questions. What is the name of the other user you found? So it was K. If you have found another user, what can you do with information? And what is the final password? The final password is actually right here. So if you just cut this, and if I just copy this, and I'll just add $2. And there we go, complete. I did not press this though. There we go. Now the level has been complete. Wham bam bam, beautiful. God damn it, that was a bit of an exhausting challenge. Too much information to process. Right, and with this beautiful image, we are going to end this video. I hope you guys have learned something new. If you have any questions, please comment down below. And don't forget to check my free courses, which are in the description down below. And also don't forget to check my Gitbook, which teaches you IT information technology for free. Thank you for watching, and peace.